Hey everyone, this is Ryan.
And this is Kyle.
And you're listening to
The Doctor's Watcher, the podcast where I watch Doctor Who and I tell you all about it.
Indeed, indeed. And what fun it is. How's it going, Kyle?
It is going pretty well. We actually got a really nice email recently from listener Gordon that I wanted to mention.
Yeah, I love that. I love hearing from our listeners, and Gordon had some super kind words to say.
Yeah, totally. There were a couple things that Gordon said that I did specifically want to mention. First, I wanted to bring up a correction that Gordon made. Gordon rightly pointed out to us that we have often referred to Doctor Who as a children's show, but Gordon says it definitely wasn't, even if people who disliked it treated it as such, including some at the BBC. Gordon notes that Wikipedia, under viewership, correctly describes it as a family show.
Yeah, and honestly, that is a super fair and accurate observation to make.
Yeah, definitely.
Honestly, it's pretty scary for a children's show. Like, you'd want, mom and dad there, in case, like, the Daleks or the Makra or whatever the series baddie is freaks out the children, right? You don't want to
totally
running around being scared of shit by themselves. That's how you grow complexes, right?
We've all heard the stories of little kids, watching Doctor Who while hiding behind the couch and covering their eyes with their hands and peering through their fingers and stuff. Right.
Exactly. I think I've even heard tell of the Doctor Who theme pre-freaking kids out because they know what's coming. Nice. I've also seen the same effect back in the day with X-Files.
Oh, sure.
We had some friends that were neighbors, their kids couldn't hear the X-Files theme song because they would just go straight to freak out mode.
I mean, it was a pretty freaky show, especially as a kid.
Yeah. And the theme song too was kind of freaky, honestly.
Yeah, totally. So yeah, Doctor Who is a family show. Family shows and children's shows are definitely different genres and,
right,
aiming at different audiences and having different goals and whatnot. So,
right. This isn't your Sesame Street teaching kids how to read and having easily resolvable conflicts and stuff.
Right. And it is certainly no Star Trek Scouts.
Right. Yeah, I didn't even try. That's so disappointing.
Yeah. I think at least some of our listeners already know this, but I previously had a resolve to watch every officially produced Star Trek show, movie, video content, etc. And Star Trek Scouts very quickly broke that resolve in me after only one episode. I
guess this is what happens when you get goddamn money grubbers who are more concerned about making a buck than making art.
Yeah, totally. But the other thing I wanted... Oh, sorry, go ahead.
So I was still ranting. I was almost done ranting, but there's a way to do Star Trek for children and still have it be good. There's a way to execute that, and it is not the way they chose.
Yeah, totally. If they didn't call it Star Trek, you wouldn't even know it's a Star Trek show.
Right.
They put some Star Trek
throwaway
paint
bullshit
on, a bunch of bullshit.
Yeah. But okay, rant over. Move on.
The other thing that I wanted to mention from Gordon's email was that Gordon remembers watching An Unearthly Child at age of 5 way back in 1963 when it first aired. and like continuing to watch the series from then. So Gordon is very much an OG original Doctor watcher and wondered whether they're our oldest listener.
I kind of wish we knew what our listeners' ages were.
Yeah.
But I suppose that's possible. Whatever it is, that is very cool, Gordon. And we really respect your continuing dedication to Doctor Who. That's neat that you have something that you've liked, from such a young age that you still like,
Yeah, totally.
Most of the stuff I liked at age 5 was dumb. Like, I don't like that stuff anymore. But like Doctor Who, it's cool. Like that's lucky and pretty cool.
Yeah, I think I probably liked Star Trek by age 5. I'm not entirely sure, but if it wasn't age 5, it was probably not too long after. But that might be the only thing I liked at age 5 that I still like. So
yeah, exactly.
But yeah,
I am not sure about Star Trek because Next Gen didn't come out until much later.
Yeah,
anyway,
you would have been like 7 or 8 or something.
I think so, yeah.
But yeah, so thanks again to Gordon for the very nice email, and to the rest of our listeners, if you think you might be older than Gordon, let us know.
Yeah, or if you think you might be younger. We always like to hear from listeners.
Either way.
Especially if you have any tales of Doctor Who viewing from your childhood.
Yeah, totally.
Well, what else have you been up to in this interim, Kyle?
So I have been reading this book series that I teased to you, Ryan, a few weeks ago.
Mm-hmm.
And it is called Dungeon Crawler Carl. That's the name of the series and the name of the first book.
I'm excited to hear about this because you told me not to spoil it for myself, and I swear I have been seeing references to it quite a bit that I've had to ignore.
Yeah, it has like really picked up in popularity just pretty recently, I think. And that is understandable because it is fucking awesome. I don't want to give like too much away, but give you like kind of a quick sketch of the first chapter or two of the first book.
Okay.
The main character is this guy named Carl, who is a Coast Guard veteran, and he lives with his girlfriend Beatrice and Beatrice's cat, Princess Donut, who is like a grand champion, like multiple award-winning show cat. She's a Persian.
Nice. Awesome.
And yeah, Carl thinks like probably she's worth more than like he makes in a year. So it's like the middle of the night. It's like 2 a.m. on the coldest day of the year. Carl is taking care of Princess Donut while Beatrice is out of town, and he's like, up in the middle of the night, smoking a cigarette out his apartment window. B hates when he smokes in the apartment, but like she's gone. And Princess Donut jumps out the window. So Carl's like, oh shit, super expensive show cat that belongs to my girlfriend. I need to go get her. So he heads out, just in like heart boxers and like leather jacket and Crocs that don't fit, and starts trying to coax Princess Donut out of the tree that she jumped into. And meanwhile, his neighbor who lives below him in the apartment building is like sticking her head out the window, shouting about all the ruckus and cat noise and whatnot. And then suddenly the apartment building just collapses. Just like the entire building flattens down into the ground in like a moment. And as Carl looks around, he realizes that like every building in the area has collapsed, and like all of the parked cars and like basically just about everything man-made has collapsed and is just like not there anymore. So, you know, for a moment, he's like, what the shit just happened? Also starting to get really cold because it's the coldest night of the year, and he's wearing like Crocs and boxers and a leather jacket, and that's all.
Mm-hmm.
And then a few moments after that, you know, he sees his downstairs neighbor's head rolling around on the ground and realizes like, oh shit, everybody who was in all of these buildings that collapsed are dead now. And then a moment after that, this announcement plays kind of like in his brain that basically informs the survivors of Earth that the planet has been taken over by the Borant Mining Corporation, and they have collapsed all of the interiors on the planet and are beginning the process of mining, you know, these valuable minerals or whatever from the planet. But that as part of this, they have transformed the planet into a dungeon crawler world. So dungeon crawler world is like this, you know, intergalactic reality show, basically, where people who are on the dungeon crawler world have to work their way down progressively through like 18 floors of the dungeon. And if they make it to the end, then they can like reclaim their planet or whatever.
Nice.
And so then like all these stairwells open up down into the first floor of the dungeon. And, you know, by this time, Carl is like getting frostbite, gonna freeze to death. Obviously, he can't like go get warmer clothes because his apartment doesn't exist anymore or anything that was in it. So he and Donut head down into the dungeon and, you know, they get like HUDs and they get like inventories and, you know, all this shit. You get like, you know, you get like achievements and loot boxes and, you know, they can like pick up magic potions and learn spells and shit. Yeah, so he becomes a dungeon crawler and has to start like fighting his way through goblins and rat people and hobgoblins and various different species and whatnot. Of course, as the series goes, he kind of learns more about like the galaxy and like, you know, all this intergalactic politics that's happening and, you know, what the Borant Mining Corporation's true goals might or might not be. And it, you know, very much becomes like pretty anti-capitalist. One of the recurring themes is that, you know, the crawlers are fighting like these, you know, mobs and NPCs and whatnot, but the mobs and NPCs are actually like living creatures, some that are created by the Borant Corporation and some that are like crawlers from previous dungeon crawls who've like gotten out of the dungeon and whatnot. And so, you know, he kind of comes to realize that the NPCs and the mobs are being exploited pretty much just about as much as the crawlers are. And they're all kind of like, you know, infighting against each other when their real true enemy is like this big corporation who are making huge profits on them fighting and killing each other and whatnot. So,
cool. That sounds awesome.
Yeah, super cool and interesting. I'm about a quarter of the way through the fourth book. I think when I first mentioned it to you a few weeks ago, I was like maybe halfway through the first book. So they're really engaging. You just like plow right through them, even though they're like several hundred pages each. But yeah, it's a lot of fun. It feels kind of like watching a Twitch stream of a gamer or something, or like listening to an actual play podcast or something like that.
Cool.
But yeah,
that's fun. That's a cool concept.
Really cool. I would definitely recommend it to our listeners and like to you specifically, Ryan. I think you would really like it.
Nice. Yes, I'm absolutely going to check that out. That sounds great.
Yeah, totally. I guess it was originally like digitally self-published, I think a few years ago. I'm not entirely sure when, but then like just earlier this year actually like got picked up by a print publisher, so you can now like get hardbacks of it, hardcovers of it.
Nice.
I've also heard very good things about the audiobook. I haven't actually listened to it myself other than like a minute or two sample, but yeah, people tell me the audiobook's really good. There's like a standard audiobook version that's, you know, just typical audiobook with, you know, good narration. Narrator has good different voices for different characters and whatnot. But then apparently there's also a version that I think is called like the audio full immersion tunnel or something like that. That, as far as I understand, has like, you know, music and sound effects and like full voice cast and everything. So,
wow. Rad.
I've just been reading the hardcover books mostly from the library, because at the end of each hardcover book, there's a section of kind of like a side companion novella that the author wrote. So you just get like a part of the novella at the end of each book.
Huh, that's cool. So you have to read all the books if you want to finish the whole novella.
Uh-huh.
And how many books are there in the series?
The seventh book either just came out or is just about to come out or something. I think I've heard that he's planning on there being 10, but then one of my coworkers who's really into it said that he doesn't think there will be 10. I didn't really ask him why, because I don't want spoilers. So at least 7, possibly 10, possibly a different number.
Nice. That's very cool. Yeah, that's exciting. I'm absolutely gonna pick that up. And yeah, that's kind of nice that like they sort of give you like a little extra surprise for getting the physical copy.
Yeah, totally.
Like most of my reading is, you know, ebooks. I've got a pretty nice, it's a little old, but I love my e-reader, you know, it's just e-ink, nothing special, black and white, like barely goes online, you know? But, you know, it's really good at displaying books, and that's all I wanted it for. And you know, it's a nice way to read. But there is also definitely something to be said about having physical media that you can hold in your hand.
Yeah, for sure.
Like actually, like books a lot of times smell good for some reason. Like the glue or something.
Yeah, so,
that's awesome.
I bought the first book when I was like halfway through reading my library copy of it. I'm gonna buy the rest of the series, just haven't done it yet.
Nice. Well, that's pretty sweet. Yeah, that's exciting. The book I'm in the middle of now, it just isn't. I know I have to finish it because it's like book, I don't know, 39 or something of like a 40 some odd book series, and I am this far in, like I can't not finish it.
Yeah,
but
at
it's
that
just
point.
So much of the same.
So what are you been up to?
That's awesome. Well, I'm still playing Cyberpunk 2077. I think I mentioned that earlier. What an incredible game. I don't want to go, you know, it's everyone knows about it, or at least probably most people, but man, it really hit more emotional notes than I'm used to in a game. Which is incredible. Like, you know, you make friends in game without giving away spoilers about the story. It's like, holy shit, like I actually almost feel like that character is my real friend. Like,
oh, nice.
I don't know. They're just cool. So well realized. Yeah. And I would compare it to like the Grand Theft Auto series where, you have your open world and you kind of have basically quests that you go to the place and do the quest, or you can just kind of run around doing whatever. But it's in a really, really cool cyberpunk universe. Of course, based on a pen and paper game, I think from 2020-ish, something like that. I'm pretty sure with the purchase of the video game, I also got a PDF of the tabletop
nice
RPG. But anyway, yeah, it's super well done. I continue to be impressed with it, and I'm like, I think almost 100 hours in. Like, I'm doing all the quests that probably maybe many people felt were tedious or something. Like, it's just so cool. It's just so fun to do stuff in the universe, and like, I don't know, I really like it.
Right on.
And then my other project that I'm kind of proud of is getting off of Spotify. I'm not all the way off yet, but those of you who know me may know that I have like many epic ass playlists on Spotify that I will like nerd out on for weeks.
Nice.
Like, for example, my classic rock playlist called Correct Classic Rock, which actually, now that I mention that, I'm remembering it was inspired by a playlist former, host emeritus Benny created for his character in our Star Trek role-playing game.
Oh, nice.
I don't know if you remember that playlist he sent out.
Uh-huh.
It was really good, had some really choice classic rock selections on there, and I was like, you know what? It is time for me to like collect all the good shit.
Right on.
And it took me like weeks, but I think my Correct Classic Rock playlist now is like over 16 hours long or something, hundreds of songs. Because, when you might put it on the radio, but they play a lot of stinkers too. Like, there's a lot of stuff that sucks. And I didn't want that. So anyway, I have probably 4 or 5 or maybe even more playlists on Spotify that are that level of, it's like, one time I got obsessed with, like, I heard some Cuban music and I was like, okay, now I need to search out a bunch of good Cuban music. And that turned into like, enveloping like Caribbean, South American, Mexican.
Nice.
And other Central American. And I think even a tiny bit of African music that I felt, because there's a deep African influence, especially in the Caribbean.
Yeah, totally.
So anyway, yeah, like that became this whole epic thing. And I've got like 3 different EDM playlists that are hours long each and yada, yada. I've got like all these playlists I put all this work into. But then, Spotify's never been good at paying artists anything.
Mm-hmm.
And the way they divvy the money up is utterly stupid, and not fair. And the way they platform fucking Nazi morons like Joe Rogan sucks.
Yeah.
And just recently, the way that the CEO, I think his name is Daniel Ek, or something to that effect, he took his billions that he made from not paying artists and began investing them in the AI that Israel is using to genocide Palestinians.
Oh, shit. I don't think I even heard about that.
Yep.
That fucking sucks.
So, yeah, fuck that. So, I did some research and I found a really good method to acquire music. And I found a really good method to using the first method of acquiring music. There's another tool you can use to, like, you get a copy of your Spotify, or not a copy, a link to your Spotify playlist, and you feed it to this tool, which goes out and reads the playlist and then searches each track.
Oh,
and
nice.
downloads them all together. Yeah, super nice. unfortunately, like, it can't always find everything. So like
Sure.
most of my playlists, I downloaded probably 90-ish% of them, which acceptable losses, I guess. Especially considering what I'm, the goal of moving away from billionaire Nazi bastards.
Yeah, totally.
Or fascist, I guess I should say. But anyway, yeah. So that's been a bit of a project. I ended up setting up something called Jellyfin, and this is all running on my personal PC. I want to get like a cheap one to just run the whole thing and get it off of my, daily driver. But Jellyfin basically creates a server on my local network and serves up, streaming all those music files to anywhere in my local network. It also does video too, which is kind of cool.
Nice.
And then I figured out how to make a reverse proxy and to do some port forwarding. So now it's like a slight bit janky, but I can basically stream music from my home PC to my phone when I'm like driving to work or, out and about, basically.
That's rad.
Yeah. So I do want to look a little more closely at like the security of doing that, because right now I'm not sure. I don't think there's any SSL involved, but it's pretty much security by obscurity. Like, who's going to know my home IP?
Right.
Who's going to know the correct port to use? Even if they find that, they're just going to be presented with a login page and no, credentials to log in with. Which
Yeah.
I think I need to look closer, but I think that login and the entering your credentials does do, on the back end, a certificate exchange. But I would like one to happen before that.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, it seems like that is the kind of setup that, like, yeah, security through obscurity, you're probably not going to hit by just like random attacks. But if for some reason there was like a targeted attack against you specifically, probably they'd be able to figure out some way in.
Right. That's my thought exactly. And given, the state of affairs in the country where you're not allowed to speak criticism of the clearly wrong things that are happening without being labeled, an Antifa terrorist. I don't know. I'm probably already on some lists, so the less hackable I am, the better, I would guess.
Yeah, that's fair. Yeah, we were just talking with our siblings the other day about how it's odd how the government insists that they are not fascists, but they also insist that Antifa are their enemy.
Right. Like, that's so in line with the dumb anti-logic they've always used.
Yeah.
And I will also say that fascism isn't coming to America. It has always come from America.
Yeah, it is very much already here.
Yeah, I mean, we did shit that inspired Hitler and what he did with the Nazis.
Yeah, totally.
So it wasn't called fascism at that time, but that is what it's called now.
Uh-huh. Yeah. And even like mass media in the 30s being like, Hitler's not like that bad, right?
Right. There was like a whole ass Nazi party in the US until we were finally like, okay, we better go step in. And then we did the same thing we did with the moon landing. We stepped in, we won a few battles, like the war ended, and we were like, yeah, you're welcome. We won that war. No, we fucking didn't. Russia won that war. They were the ones, would they lose like 20,000
something
or
like
200,000 people or something?
Yeah.
But anyway, that's a whole other thing. Fuck fascism. I'm not going to censor myself, but listeners, you probably should be wary of it.
Indeed. Cool. Well, on that note, do you have a joke for us? Other than fascism in general? Not very funny joke, but...
What is the difference between a fascist and an onion?
I don't know.
No one cries when you cut a fascist into pieces.
Nice. Well, cool. Today we are talking about the 31st episode of season 4, which is the first episode of a new serial, which is called The Faceless Ones.
Ooh, cool name. And we get the name right up front. Awesome.
Yeah, I figured now that the BBC is naming the serials rather than the episodes, and they tell us the name right at the start, I might as well follow their lead.
Cool. Makes sense.
This serial was written by David Ellis and Malcolm Hulk, who I guess is a writing team. The two of them actually submitted a few different story ideas to Doctor Who, including one called The People Who Couldn't Remember, which I thought was a pretty good name.
Mm-hmm, yeah.
But apparently this was the only submission of theirs that actually got picked up.
The Faceless Ones. I mean, they kind of feels like a little theme between those two titles, but
yeah, definitely.
Right.
It was directed by Jerry Mill. This is the only Doctor Who serial that he directed, but he was also production assistant on The Massacre. But I also learned that he is Benedict Cumberbatch's godfather.
Oh, cool.
And he actually met Benedict Cumberbatch's mother in this serial, which she is in.
Ah, neat.
Yeah.
Benedict Cumberbatch's mom. That's okay.
This is another one with various missing episodes, but it is on the Doctor Who Classic Full Episodes YouTube channel that I've mentioned a few times, the animated version.
Cool.
They've animated every episode, even the non-missing ones, so that seems to be kind of what they do.
Cool.
For the most part. Do you want to remind us of any cliffdanglers at the end of the previous serial?
Yeah, so if I recall correctly, it wasn't super dangly. Our heroes had, Ben at least had broken free from the mind control, and they had pretty much escaped from the fart mines that the Makras were having them mine in, and revealed the conspiracy and kind of collapsed it. And then the people in the colony were like, hey, we've elected the Doctor as the new leader. And the Doctor was pretty much like, fuck that, we're out of here.
We are G'ing TFO.
Right. And meanwhile, Jamie had already G'd TFO by dancing out the door in a very cool fashion. So yeah, I think that was pretty much that, right? Like there wasn't really any hanging danglers.
Yeah, we don't really see we see the TARDIS disappear, I think, but we don't see where it shows up or anything.
Yeah. So I guess that's the most dangly thing is we don't know where they're going to show up next.
Well, and we'll pick up with that in a moment, but I also wanted to mention here that I think this actually started a serial or two ago, but they have changed the opening sequence a little bit. They've actually like stuck the Doctor's face into it. We still get like all the cool, weird, like kaleidoscopy action happening, but his face gets superimposed over it for a few seconds, and then his face dissolves into the words Doctor Who, which I'm also pretty sure that they changed the font for the words Doctor Who in the opening sequence.
Cool.
And then once we actually pick up with the TARDIS crew, it's pretty quickly clear that this is not just like immediately after the previous serial. There has been some time that has passed because Polly has long hair again.
Oh, okay. Yep. She'd gotten her hair cut short last serial. That's cool.
So yeah, I think we can either assume that a fair amount of time has passed, or that the TARDIS has like some kind of cool hair growing device.
Which it might. Nice.
So we start on a runway at Gatwick Airport in London. The TARDIS materializes here on the runway, and our characters exit out of it just as a plane is coming in for a landing.
It's a flying beastie!
I can guess who said that one.
So this plane's coming down, but it aborts its landing attempt because there's like shit in the runway now. So it starts regaining altitude as a policeman spots our characters. They all, kind of look at each other for a second, and they're like, split the party? Split the party. Yeah, split the party. Let's split the party. So Ben goes off in one direction, Paula goes in another direction, and Jamie and the Doctor go together in a third direction, and the DM rolls a d6, and then he's like, all right, the cop is chasing Ben.
Cool. Probably the most, I guess, able of the crew to, shake a cop and or do fisticuffs with him if it comes down to it.
We cut up to the air traffic control room where the airport commandant doesn't believe the pilot who reported that he couldn't land due to a police box on the runway. So the commandant gets like the airport cops on the phone and tells them to go investigate. So we see a couple of motorcycle cops ride out onto the runway, and then we cut to a shot of the motorcycles escorting a flatbed truck with the TARDIS loaded up in the back of it.
Nice.
Ben, meanwhile, has evaded the cop that's chasing him by hiding behind a hangar door. Jamie and the Doctor are hiding behind airplane wheels, and Polly goes to hide inside of a hangar that has the words Chameleon Tours on the door, as well as like this cool chameleon logo.
Okay.
So she enters the Chameleon Tours hangar. She does not toggle her stealth mode off because there are two men inside the hangar. So she's trying to hide from them. One of these men is demanding that the other one give him an envelope he has, but the other one doesn't give it to him. So the man who wants the envelope uses a futuristic ray gun to shoot the envelope man in the face.
Ooh.
He obviously dies, and the other dude takes the envelope, covers the body with like a sheet or whatever, and leaves the room. He enters into pretty standard looking like 1960s office. It's got like desk and chair. It's got some shelves on the wall. these shelves all have like cans of oil or something on it. And he walks up to the shelf and he just kind of like turns one of the cans, and that causes the shelf to slide to the side, revealing a secret, like pretty high-tech looking back room that he heads into.
Ooh, cool.
And in the back room, he FaceTimes this other dude and asks him to come quickly because someone found the postcards. We start to hear an alarm buzz, and this dude looks at, he like turns the FaceTime off or whatever and looks at the security monitor, which shows a surveillance camera view of Polly rolling an investigation check on the dead body. So he re-equips his ray gun and heads out into the main hangar area, but she has already slipped out the door back onto the tarmac. He actually like follows her out onto the tarmac with his ray gun like drawn and ready, but then he sees the motorcycle cops, so he just kind of unequips the ray gun, pockets it, and heads back into the hangar.
Is this like a handheld kind of thing?
Yeah.
The ray gun? Okay, cool.
Yeah, it's like, kind of roughly pistol sized, probably larger than a pistol. And, the animated version at least is kind of like bulby and has like, little kind of satellite dish looking thing on the end and that sort of shit.
Nice. I was going to call it like standard ray gun, weird looking shape, but now that I think about it, probably Doctor Who kind of helped define what that is.
Probably so, yeah.
Anyway.
So Ben is still hiding, and he watches as the TARDIS gets driven on the flatbed truck into a hangar. We cut up to the air traffic control room where the commandant is shocked to learn that it actually was a police box on the runway. But it's gone now, so planes can start landing again. Benedict Cumberbatch's mom is here in air traffic control. I guess she works there, and she wonders who might have done it. And the commandant tells her,
whoever it was, they're going to pay for it as soon as I get my hands on them. I'm not going to have the lives of passengers endangered by practical jokers or anyone else.
So she calls the chief of police for him. The chief of police tells him that they saw 4 suspects running away from the police box, but they weren't caught. So the commandant basically puts out a notice to keep an eye out for them.
Are you struggling with the stresses of modern life? Here is an easy solution for all of your problems. First, relax. Then, open up your browser or your podcast listening device. Navigate to the Doctor's Watcher and begin leaving 5-star ratings. You will soon feel the stress begin to melt away. Once you begin sharing the podcast with friends and family, you will feel enveloped in a warm, calm, peaceful feeling. Relax.
Polly finds Jamie and the doctor, and she tells them about this murder that she witnessed. She says that this guy got shot with a gun, but she didn't mention that it was like futuristic ray gun. And none of the 3 of them have seen Ben since they split the party. Polly's kind of thinking maybe they should like try to meet up with Ben, but the doctor just wants Polly to take him and Jamie to the Chameleon Tours hangar where she was. Back in the hangar, the murderer dude and the dude that he FaceTimed are chatting. FaceTime dude is like here in person now. They're both wearing pilot uniforms, and the murderer is explaining that he had to kill the guy because the guy found the postcards. FaceTime pilot checks the dead guy's wallet.
You've killed Detective Inspector Gascoigne, a policeman.
Do you think a parent sent him?
Possibly. It doesn't matter. The important thing is that nobody should find him. Arrange disposal.
A parent?
Yeah.
Like mom or dad?
Yeah.
Interesting.
So the two of them head into the secret back room where the murderer dude calls for a container to be sent. FaceTime dude tells him to destroy the dead cop's wallet and to finish with the suitcases. So he takes the wallet and the suitcases and feeds him onto a conveyor belt that goes through a panel in the wall. I guess, like, presumably to, I don't know, an incinerator or something.
That's convenient.
Uh-huh. We hear another alarm start to buzz, and they take a look at the surveillance camera, and they see Polly and Jamie and the doctor all investigating the hangar. Doctor confirms with Polly that the murder that she saw was committed with a gun. He's like double checking, but she can't describe the gun. Apparently she was too far away to get a really good look at it. So I guess that's why she didn't mention that it was a futuristic ray gun. But like the reason the doctor was double checking with her is because the man was electrocuted.
It was definitely some kind of a gun, Doctor.
Maybe, but not one that's been developed yet on this planet.
Interesting.
The two Chameleon Tour guys who are watching on the surveillance camera correctly identify the doctor as a threat to their operation, but they don't really want to deal with him yet. They figure if he talks, no one's going to believe him. But in the meantime, they do want to capture Polly because she can identify the murderer. Jamie and Polly and the doctor start to head back toward the main airport building. Polly's kind of like trailing a few steps behind the other two. And that is a bad choice on her part because the murderer pilot is pretty easily able to kind of come up behind her and clamp his hand over her mouth and kidnap her. And yeah, Doctor and Jamie don't roll well on their perception checks and completely miss this happening. So Polly gets taken to the Chameleon Tour's secret back room. They try questioning her, but she doesn't really have any useful information. She just says that she and her friends have nothing to do with the airport. These guys are like asking her, like, where do you work in the airport? What's your airport job or whatever? She's like, nothing. We don't work here. We just got lost. And she says that her friends will come looking for her. Just then, the alarm starts buzzing again. And they look and see that Jamie and the doctor are back in the hangar. By this point, they've realized that Polly's missing, so now they're like looking for Polly. And as the pilots, the Chameleon Tour pilots, watch and listen on the surveillance camera, the doctor and Jamie decide that they should probably go find the authorities. One of Polly's kidnappers is like,
Yes, you're right. Your friends are worried about you. Well, then we shall have to do something to stop them worrying.
That's ominous.
Uh-huh. Jamie and the doctor are heading through the airport, like down the concourse or whatever. They find a passport control clerk and go up to talk to him.
Was a passport doctor some sort of official mumbo-jumbo?
And they try telling this passport clerk, I guess he's, a customs agent or whatever. They try telling him that they're here looking for someone in authority to report a dead body to, but he actually doesn't really seem to care very much about a dead body report. He just wants to see their passports, which obviously they don't have. The doctor keeps pushing this, like, we've got to talk to an authority. There's a fucking dead dude. And the passport control clerk's just like, go tell it to a policeman. He realizes, of course, that they don't have passports. And he's like, I'm pretty sure you would have had to have them to arrive on the last flight that just came in. And Jamie's like, oh, well, we didn't arrive on an aircraft. Of course, the passport
That's
dude's
very
like...
futuristic of Jamie to like be understanding all that now.
Yeah, totally. Passport dude's like, what the fuck? Keeps talking to them for a minute. And Jamie says something that gives the passport clerk the idea that they might be connected to the police box that was found on the runway. So the clerk is like, oh, cool. Why don't you just have a seat here and you will get the chance to talk to someone in authority. So doctor's like, all right, cool. And they sit down. And of course, passport clerk calls the airport cops and tells them that he thinks he has some of their suspects.
Yay, a chance to talk with someone of authority.
Ben is just kind of like wandering around. He wanders his way into the Chameleon Tours hangar, where he sees one of the guys hammering a shipping crate closed. And the guy's just like, dude, this is fucking private property, and offers to show him the way out. We cut back to Jamie and the doctor, who are with the airport commandant now. Not quite sure how you say that word. Commandant. I don't know. The airport head dude. And they're telling him about the murder that Polly witnessed.
He was electrocuted with a ray gun.
A what?
Oh, what does it matter what sort of gun? The point is, he was killed and my friend saw it happen.
But the commandant doesn't really believe them, especially when they mention that, like, their friend Polly has now vanished. But he does agree to accompany them to the Chameleon Tours hangar, at least. We cut back to the hangar, or to the office, rather, the Chameleon Tours office. And the two murderer pilot dudes are putting French postage stamps onto Eiffel Tower postcards and discussing with each other how there's room for Polly on the next flight. One of the guys gets a hypodermic needle out, and he goes and opens this like cabinet door in the office, and a weird arm wrapped in bandages comes out of this cabinet.
Mm-hmm.
And he just like casually reaches into the cabinet or the closet and injects this hypodermic needle into whatever is in there.
Is it like a mummy arm or like a...
It's, yeah, basically...
not dead person.
it looks pretty much like a mummy arm. We don't really get to see like what's under the bandages or anything, but it's just all wrapped up.
Interesting.
As he does this injection, the alarm starts buzzing again. We've figured out by now that this is the alarm that indicates that someone's in the hangar. And of course, in the hangar is Jamie and the doctor and the airport commandant, and the three of them do not find the dead body. It's gone. The doctor...
Creepy.
The doctor pulls out a magnifying glass and He's like, if I have this equipped, then I think I get advantage on my investigation checks. So he's able to find some burnt fibers, and Jamie finds a burn mark on the wall.
That was definitely made by a ray gun.
The doctor also remembers that he actually recovered something from the dead body earlier when they investigated it the first time. He looted an unused Spanish postage stamp from it.
Oh, interesting.
The commandant is like, what the fuck are you talking about? And the doctor says that he thinks the dead body is probably in a large packing crate. Just then, one of these two murderer pilot dudes comes out of the office. We learn that his name is Captain Blade. And the commandant asks if they can open this packing crate that's sitting here. Blade is like, sure, I guess, whatever. So they open it, and it's full of plastic drinking cups.
Plastic cups. Now I'm going to do some investigating of my own.
But I'm glad I've roused your interest.
Oh, but you have. And what I'm going to investigate is you and why you're both here in the airport.
So he takes the doctor and Jamie. They leave. And then Captain Blade, who is actually like the FaceTime pilot for our names earlier, he and the actual murderer pilot himself start escorting this figure, like a body. This figure that we see is wearing like a big jacket, a big hat that's kind of obscuring its face, and it's like fully wrapped up in bandages. So they're escorting it through the hangar. They're talking about how he's reaching suffocation point, but if they hurry, he'll be okay. Meanwhile, the doctor is complaining to the commandant. They're like back in the commandant's office or whatever. He's complaining about not getting to search the hangar properly. But the commandant is like, dude, you don't have the right to search the hangar. And like, I actually don't either. It's leased out to a private charter company.
Interesting.
He
seems like the commandant would have the right still, but okay.
Yeah, you'd think like it's still airport property, even if it's leased out.
Yeah.
The commandant starts trying to get a hold of the airport cops or whatever. He wants to report Jamie and the doctor for trespassing. I guess both for like fucking around in the hangar earlier and also for, you know, probably being the people who left the prank police box on the runway. But then they all see Polly approaching the nearby passport control desk, and she seems to be like a passenger, basically. You know, she's like wanting to get like checked in to board the flight or whatnot. The doctor and Jamie are, of course, pretty happy to see her, and they rush up and like start trying to talk to her. But she insists that her name is not Polly and she does not know who they are.
Weird.
Meanwhile, Captain Blade and Captain Murderer Pilot Dude are still escorting this mysterious bandage-wrapped mummy-esque figure through the airport. They're just like in kind of the main airport concourse area now. And they escort this figure up the escalator and into the airport's medical center. we do briefly get a view of its hand. I guess like the bandages have maybe unwrapped from the hand a little bit. And at least in this animation, which is colored, the hand is green and very reptilian looking. It's like all scaly and shit.
Uh-oh.
So they escort this figure through the medical center into medical center's x-ray room, and they sit it down like on an exam table or whatever, and they take its jacket off and they unwrap the bandages from its face, and we see that it's like definitely a pretty cool alien of some sort. We only get to see it from behind, but as they unwrap it, we can see that it's wearing this like cool futuristic clothing that's got like all sorts of interesting like piping and greebles and shit.
Nice.
And it's bald, and its skin is like kind of a bunch of different shades of green in like splotches and shit. It's almost like kind of camouflagey. And with that, as this back of the alien's head is revealed, the music plays and the words on the screen say Doctor Who Patrick Troughton.
Nice. Well, that's very interesting. We're immediately sucked into strange conspiracies. Polly has had clearly something happen to make her all weird. There is a mummy/alien reptilian guy, which, true to the name, we have not seen his face yet. So cool. Yeah, that's pretty exciting, you know, kind of comes out with a bang. A lot of, you know, there's probably, if we were to sit down and count, there's the cliff dangler of Polly, there's the cliff dangler of, you know, kind of the conspiracy in general, what the hell's going on.
Right.
And there's the cliff dangler of the weird reptile mummy dude.
Yeah, and the cliff dangler of like, are Jamie and the doctor going to get busted by the airport cops for trespassing and not having passports?
Right. And I just realized another one. Where's Ben? So, dang, we're dangling like crazy all over the place here.
Yeah, a ton of cliffs here.
Mm-hmm. Nice. Well, that's a good start. I like it.
Yeah. I really enjoy how they're just like, yeah, right out of the gate, they're kind of spinning up all this plot happening and cool shit to deal with.
Awesome. Well, are there any more notes about this episode in particular?
No, I didn't have any end notes on this one.
Cool. Well, that was cool. I had fun. Hopefully our listeners did too, especially you, Gordon. Awesome. Well, I can't wait to find out, like at least get to the bottom of some of these cliff dangles then before we get, dropped off of any more cliffs. So yeah, I look forward to next episode.
Nice.
Thanks for describing all, this episode for me, Kyle, and of course, watching it beforehand.
For sure. And thanks for letting me talk about Doctor Who into your ear holes.
Of course. And thanks, listeners, for allowing both of us to invade said ear holes with our yakking and babbling of Doctor Who.
Indeed. As the cliche of airline companies says, you could have chosen a lot of podcasts to listen to, and we're happy that you chose ours.
They always say that, don't they? Like every single one.
Uh-huh.
All right. Well, yeah, listeners, in case there's anything you'd like to say to us, please hit us up on Blue Sky or email. Doctor's Watcher. You probably search that on Blue Sky, and I believe it's the Dr. Watcher at Gmail.
I think that's right, yeah.
Don't forget to recommend us to any and everyone that you think may be interested, so that we may spread our propaganda far and wide and the subtle brainwashing techniques that we've been using this entire time.
Indeed. I think if you're not already spreading it far and wide, then you might be immune to our brainwashing, and then you'll just have to, like, make the decision on your own to do it out of the goodness of your heart.
Right. I mean, we're trying to help you. But yeah, also, you know, maybe if it hasn't worked, maybe they just need to, like, turn it up a little bit louder.
Oh, that could be.
But yeah, either way, we always appreciate that. Yeah, I guess to wrap up with another airline cliche, don't forget to secure your own mask before securing the masks of others.
Indeed. And we will see you back flying the friendly skies with us in 2 weeks.
All right, sounds good.
Bye.
Bye.
Flight did these people come in on?
Well, sir, they came in with the passengers from Flight 729 from Madrid, but they've no passports.
Perhaps you'd kindly explain why you have no passport.
Oh, look, we're all wasting time. Now, are you going to come and see that body, or am I going to find someone who really is in charge in this place?
I am in charge in this place, thank you. Now, you'll both accompany me to this hangar immediately.
Well, thank you. Thank you very much. Last.
Tell air traffic control where I am.
Yes, sir. Immigration desk number 5 here. Number 1's just gone to the hangar area. He wanted me to let you know. As a matter of fact, he's just gone to look for a dead body. Yes, it's going to be one of those days, isn't it?